If it hurts, game breaks, no games, you know it up, put on more steam. Protect our kickers, our quarterback, our lead, our ball game. All obstacles, block, cut, sides, through the games after this win it ends. Press you again, we're here for the first minute. Carry everybody, keep it every 6 minutes.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Unbelievable place. Great university. Knoxville's unbelievable city, great people. The passion for football is even greater than I thought it would be. And man, Neyland Stadium, I said it, a couple of years ago, and I still think it's the best football experience for a college football fan or a player in the country.
We've got to raise the bar, and we've got to continue to raise the bar. I don't think any of those young men, when they signed to come to Tennessee, they signed to say they wanted to come and be a part of a 7-6 program. All right, they said they wanted to come and compete for championships, SEC championships, national championships. I know that's what I want. I know that's what Tennessee wants. I know that's what the expectation is. So we've got to continue to reassess everything that we're doing and make sure that we're continuing to move the needle in the right direction.
I think a lot like this will really, light a fire under anybody. I know me personally, like this feeling and the way this feels, like I'm not going to take this lightly. And I think everybody else on the offense will fall in line on that. So hopefully moving forward there won't be, laboring days or nights. Not that it will be perfect, but we're going to work for it.
And you have to not lose the game before you can ever win the game.
Our pets' heads are falling off!
Do you remember when we fell in love? I remember, don't worry. Do you remember? I remember how it all began. How could I ever forget? It's the first time. Do you remember? I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it coming in the air now. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. It's coming in the air now. We fell in love. You remember how could I ever forget? You remember we fell in love. You remember how could I ever forget? Coming in the air now.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Going to be a fun show today. We're going to get Sports Talk Jay and BVD on here in just a second, but the group therapy continues. The Big Orange Cult group therapy continues this morning. Going to be a fun show, maybe a painful show. I don't know, because there are two trains of thought going around Vol Nation right now. Number one is everything is perfectly fine. It's okay. Like, it's fine to lose to Florida. That's no big deal. It's fine to play horrible against Austin Peay. There's no problems here. The offense, we don't need to score points. Everything's perfectly fine. Boogie, quit being a negavol, quit being a hater. On the flip side, it's over. Fire Josh Heupel, fire Tim Banks, bench Joe Milton. The sky is falling. We're going to have a debate today. We're going to figure out which one of those it is. Let's run down the chat. Dylan's in the house. Our pets' heads are falling off. Smoky Mountain Red is here, says good morning. What's up, my friend? Justin Sanday is in the house. Mike C is here. Joe graduates. Nico transfers due to not seeing the field. And then what? Come on, Mike. That ain't happening. Nico's not going to transfer. We're going to be talking a lot about Nico today, though. Backwoods is in the house. What's up, my friend? Says just the three guys I need to help me with my battered ball syndrome. Go Big Orange. Rose is in the house. What is up? Good to see you in the chat. David Collins is here. Got a couple of super chats. Scott Bennett for 5. Appreciate that. Cover charge. Oh, man, Scott drops in to drop a super chat, but he's working. Not going to be able to watch the show. He popped in at 9:18, almost 2 hours ago, to drop a super chat and not even going to be a part of the show. Says Nico equals 98. Joe, put on big boy pants. BVD, Sports Talk J, Boogie, emojis. Thank you, Scott, for that. Mike C becomes a member of the channel. I appreciate that support. You guys can hit the join button down below. It's $1. You got $1 floating around. You want to support what we're building around here, we would greatly appreciate it. You also get access to the fan call-in shows on Sunday nights at 7, and then an hour before kickoff every Saturday. Brad Smith also becomes a member. Shout out, Brad. Appreciate that, brother. Parker Townsend for 5. Sports Talk J therapy session entry fee. Well, let's get the boys on here. We got BVD in the house, Sports Talk J in the house. Here's how we're going to kick this thing off, guys. First of all, welcome to therapy. Lie down on the couch and let's talk about it. Myself and BVD went live on Monday morning, kind of talked about this Florida game. I want to get Sports Talk Jay's thoughts because, Jay, you talk a lot of trash to the Florida fans. What are your thoughts coming out of that loss to Florida? Just overall thoughts real quick right out of the gate.
Just painful, just extremely painful. I knew going into it after that Austin Peay game that we had a problem. And the problem's on offense, clearly. Defense is going to be what it's going to be. It'll probably be slightly better than last year, but it's still going to – we've got to score points to win games. And if you're going to score 30 against Austin Peay and 16 against Florida, you got a problem. So something's got to give on that.
BVD, we've had a couple of days to think about it. Any different thoughts? Maybe something changed? Maybe you panicked more than you should have, or – what are your thoughts here midway through the week?
Definitely panicked way less. The more I get away from games like this and the older I get, the less I care. And I'm obviously not saying I don't care. And Jay's right, we do have a problem. But all I can do is trust that the ones that came on, like Brew McCoy, and I think it was Beasley, came on and openly admitted that there were some problems in that locker room, that they'll get that fixed. And what a better game than UTSA to get that fixed, because A, it will definitely be a challenge, and B, it'll be a game that they should win. The question for us is by how much? Are we going to fix the scoring problems? Is Joe Milton going to get everybody off his case? We got, 4 days to find out, 3 days.
And we're going to talk about Joe Milton, and we're going to talk about Nico. We're going to have that debate coming up here a little bit later in the show. But Jay, when you look back at that Florida game and Austin Peay, right, because that's the thing. Is the sky falling, or is it time to panic, or is everything perfectly peachy keen and fine? This football team has more problems than the quarterback position. They couldn't run the football on Florida. They're undisciplined, and we're going to talk about the Aaron Beasley comments too coming up in just a little bit. They have to be better in more areas than just quarterback play. Defense is terrible, and that's why – when you look and people say it's just one loss, why are you guys freaking out? It's just one game. It's just one loss to Florida. They struggled against Austin Peay. That's why UTSA is so important coming up on Saturday.
Well, it's we had a bad defense last year too. It was Florida scored 33 points in Neyland last year, and we were thrilled because we won the game. They scored 29 points down at the Swamp, and they won and were ticked. The problem is our offense was covering for a lot of our problems, and Hendon Hooker was covering for a lot of our problems. And we're not able to do that. Our offense is going slow. It's not fast like it used to be. We're not getting up on the ball immediately and go, go, go. We're taking our time. We're waiting for plays to come in, and we're losing that element of surprise, and we're not keeping that defense on its heels, wondering what to do. The defenses are not making mistakes because they've got time to prepare a little bit mentally, get their play in and all that, because we're looking to the sideline. And that's something you didn't see last year. Hendon was like, go, 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 man, go. And that may have something to do with Cooper as well, but
right,
we're not busting a move like we were last year. It just seems
busting.
I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like it. We need to bust a damn – sorry. We need to bust a move.
What do you think reference. What do you think it is, BVD? Because, and again, I keep burying the lead here. We're going to talk about Nico and Joe, but the coaching staff says that Joe is operating at a high level. this offense is not going as fast as it's always gone. And is it Cooper Mays? Because I think that is some of it. You don't have your anchor out there on the offensive line. But how much of it is trust in Joe Milton to get the play called right at the line of scrimmage? Because like Jay just said, Hennon's getting up to the line, going quick, going in a hurry. Is he having to look to the sideline because they don't trust him to make the appropriate checks at the line of scrimmage? I think there's a big issue with trust in Joe Milton and this coaching staff.
If there is, they're not admitting it openly and outwardly to folks like us. I think part of the trust issue might still be with some of the receivers. You know, that might be part of why we're not moving as fast, because maybe they don't have as much trust in these receivers. Dante Thornton was supposed to be the next Jalen Hyatt. You know, he had a couple of good catches, big catches Saturday, but the game before that, he dropped a couple and just acted. He half ate it, you know. So part of it is probably the Cooper thing. And part of it is just every year, every football team is different. I don't care what level it is. Maybe it's the team unity or something. I don't know. I don't know that we'll ever find out, even if they get it fixed.
Parker being very
a private place.
Parker being very generous in the chat. $2 super chat says, blame it all on ex-daughter. Come on, man. That's late night talking balls, Parker. Don't be bringing your filth to the Wednesday morning stream. Parker with another 2. Need Coach Jay to suit up. I wonder if Coach has any eligibility left. I'll have to hit him up and ask him. Look, is it time to panic? Is it time to say everything's perfectly fine? I want to take a look at this because you mentioned locker room, right? Locker room chemistry. Is there a divide in the locker room? Red flags is what I want to talk about. That's what I want to talk about today is red flags. A lot of red flags went up in that Austin Peay game. A lot of people wanted to sweep them under the rug and say everything's just fine. Meanwhile, Vols JP is texting me saying that this team is horrible and they are not going to have any success this year. All you Vols JP fans, come hang out tonight. We'll be live again at 7 o'clock tonight. JP's going to be in the house. He's going to be handed a live mic and say, go, JP. Let him know how you feel. So that should be interesting. Papa J in the chat. What's up, brother? $5 super chat. Door fee paid. GBO. I appreciate that, Papa J. Appreciate you paying the door fee and not sneaking in. We got 230 people watching live, and I think about 224 of y'all snuck in and didn't pay. So I'm keeping an eye on you guys. We'll figure out which one of you guys did and did not pay the door fee and get this thing cleared out. Let's take a listen to Aaron Beasley. A lot of people say that Ben McKee trapped him. So I'm going to put this thing out where you get the full context so there's no, what really happened, what was really said. This is what Aaron Beasley had to say about the way they played on Saturday night in the Swamp. Let's take a listen.
They were just running the offense, honestly. On our end, I feel like it was just a lot of mistakes. We really weren't playing sound football, in my opinion, just undisciplined from our part.
So there's the comment. Aaron Beasley, what went wrong on Saturday? A lot of mistakes on our part. We just play undisciplined football. Now let's hear the follow-up question from Ben McKee.
Aaron, you talk about being undisciplined. Is that surprising to you, given how fall camp went and the offseason?
The question, if you can't hear it because the mics are so low, was you talk about playing undisciplined football based on how fall camp went. Did that surprise you tonight in the Swamp? Here is his response. Does this look like a guy that's trapped? Does this look like a guy that doesn't know what he's saying? Look, he receives the information. He ponders it. He looks down. He thinks about it. And he looks like he's in pain when he tells the honest answer. Let's take a listen.
No, sir.
Jay, what are your thoughts on that comment?
He's probably saying the truth, that the problem is when you're not winning, you're going to have problems in the locker room. That's what it boils down to. Winning solves a lot of problems. It's almost like a river. The more you're winning, the higher the water level. You don't see the branches and the stones and the rocks. When the water level goes down and you're losing, then you start seeing all that stuff that's not getting covered up. They probably had problems last year that we weren't aware of, but when you're 8-0, number one in the country, nobody's going to say anything. Right. So I would say it's just some frustration from losing.
BVD?
I mean, echoing his comments, not just losing, but losing to Florida down there again when everybody on earth not wearing Florida Gator gear just knew we were going to win.
I don't like the fact that You know, he's saying coming out of fall camp, no, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that we played undisciplined. That's a problem. And that goes back to the coaches, right? That goes back. We're going to talk a lot about leadership. Already talking a lot about leadership this week, whether that comes from the coaches or whether that comes from the players. I think Joe Milton is being questioned for his ability to lead. But for me, man, like Tim Banks, you got a bunch of guys playing undisciplined football. You got to do something about it. It's not a surprise. Sure as heck was a surprise to me. I expected this team to be dialed in, ready to go. You know, Jay talked about the defense last year not being very good. They still played good at times. Look what they did to LSU. Look what they did to Kentucky. You know, they improved the scoring defense by a touchdown. We're hoping you continue that trend in 2023. We're talking about going into this season that, hey, you know, the offense is probably going to take a step back, but this defense is going to be better. We watched them go play against Virginia and Austin Peay, and we're celebrating and having a big party, talking about number 1 in sacks, number 1 in tackles for loss. This Tennessee defense is going to carry this football team, and then they go down to the swamp and play undisciplined football, and your senior leader linebacker says it's not a surprise. That's concerning to me. We got a $2 super chat from Alex Gibson. Appreciate that, buddy. Says therapy fee paid. Hashtag battered Vol. And that's what a lot of this is battered Vol syndrome. Like Jay said, Jay made a great point. When you're winning, this type of stuff doesn't happen. These type of conversations aren't taking place. But I want to talk about it. We got some more things that are concerning to me that I want to get into. Shout out to Sean Rainey for becoming a member of the channel. Appreciate that, brother. You got those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. Guys, show Sean what he's won. Drop those custom emojis in the chat. Appreciate that support, brother. Let's move on to Exhibit B. I feel like I'm in a courtroom explaining why I'm concerned about this football team in 2023. Gerald Mincey, coach's decision to not play. Your best right tackle is going to sit on the bench all day because it's a coach's decision. And I get it. This is happening all over the country. Coaches lie, try to cover things up. In the words of Jeremy Pruitt, this didn't happen at Alabama. You know, every coach in the country is trying to keep his kids out of the news, out of the media. Gerald Mincey cited for simple possession right after Heupel told us it was coach's decision that he's not going to play. Okay? So Josh Heupel and his coaching staff knew that Gerald Mincey was cited for simple possession. Their decision to suspend him on just offense and not special teams BVD, that's a little strange. That's a strange decision, and Josh Heupel hoped this would fly under the radar and nobody would know about it. That's not going to happen in the Knoxville media. They're going to find out about it, and the truth comes out right after the game.
Well, it was just a coach's decision, Boogie. I mean, after all, at the end of the day, the coach made the decision not to play the young man.
That's true.
I mean, you know, I hate to saying it is what it is. In this day and age, nobody should be shocked about anything we hear in the news or on the media. And let's face it, it's not just local TV anymore. It's Twitter, it's Instagram, it's YouTube, it's TikTok or X or whatever the heck they're calling that thing now.
I will never call it X. I'm always going to call it Twitter.
It's just so stupid. I mean, and well, anyway. Yeah, I mean, so, you know, what can the three of us say about it that probably hasn't already been over regurgitated 1,000 times on social media and actual media? You move on. You hope the guy gets better. You hope everybody else gets better, and we don't lose to a team like UTSA, and we take care of business Saturday.
So somebody might be sitting back watching this show going, why is this idiot bringing up all this negativity? Why is he talking about all this? Well, I'm talking about it because we saw a team struggle against Austin Peay. We saw a team go down to the swamp and get whipped. What is going on with this football team? So we mentioned the Beasley comments. We talk about Gerald Mincey. Then you got to raise a red flag. Joshua Josephs didn't play a single snap. Not a single snap on Rodney Garner's offense, Jay, that rotates 10 guys. This is a guy that, you know, is a difference maker. Was it a coach's decision, or is there more to it? Danico Slaughter, very strange situation. Comes out dressed, tries to give it a go, and then he's on street clothes on the sidelines. Is there off-field issues happening in this football team? Is there a culture problem with this football team?
I don't think there's anything worse than every other team's dealing with. The world has changed quite a bit. You've really got to be a player's coach now. You can't be a disciplinarian anymore, not with transfer portal and not with NIL. You're not going to be able to bully folks into following every single solitary rule. It's just not going to be that way anymore. So I'm not surprised at all by it. I just think that when you're winning, people don't talk as much about it. And when you're losing, people are disgruntled. I'm not getting to play as much as I should. Maybe that's why we're losing. I've been on teams that have won and lost. And when you're losing, people are mouthy and things get negative. When you're winning, even the people that are ticked off are quiet because, well, it's going to sound like I'm just complaining when we're winning, and that's going to make me look selfish. So
you mentioned playing time. This is another thing that I had on here that was worth talking about. Tennessee running back Dylan Sampson Instagram story. I'm a caged cheetah. Got 0 carries against Florida. It seems like a lot of griping, a lot of complaining, a lot of stuff going on with this football team. And again, let's go back and talk about leadership. Where do you find that leadership, Jay? Are you looking for it from a coach? Are you looking for it from your 6-year senior quarterback, Joe Milton? You know, I talked a lot about this going back before the season, saying, hey, Joe, you know, he likes to dance and goof off and have a good time, and that's great. That's who Joe is. Hendon was a true leader, man. People wanted to go into battle with Hendon Hooker. And some people just don't have that leadership gene in their body. They don't have that mentality. What are you looking for? Who needs to step up on this football team? I love the quote from Brew McCoy that I played it every stream since he made that statement. That's a dude that's pissed off and losing sleep over going down there to the swamp and laying an egg.
Joe's got to be your leader. Your quarterback is your leader. Now he may not be the leader on the defense. That's typically your middle linebacker or somebody along those lines. But Joe's got to be your leader. And I have no doubt that Halsley is correct that Joe is playing at a high level. When he puts the play in there, he's probably making decent decisions. He's made some good throws. He made some good throws at Florida. There are two differences, though. Here are the differences. Number one, the play calling has changed. We're not throwing the ball down the field like we were. I think Joe's like ranked 12th as far as passes per play in the SEC. I was reading that this morning. And so we're not throwing the ball down the field as far. We're not hitting those mid-range. We're also going slower. We're not going as fast. So you've got two significant differences. So Joe can be playing at a high level based on the plays that are called and making some nice throws, which he is doing, and also be playing slower and throwing a lot more short passes behind the line. That also increases his completion rate, but his passes per play is down lower. And those aren't splash plays. Those aren't the things that Hendon was doing when he was burning them to death, going fast, hitting them for 15, 20, 25. And then because he was going so fast, the cornerback would make a mistake and he would hit Hyatt or Squirrel White or whoever down, and he was wide open for a 50-yard touchdown. We're not seeing that type of stuff. So he's playing at a high level, but there are those two differences.
What do you think, BVD? Where are you looking for leadership on this Tennessee football team?
I mean, Jay's right. On the football team, your offensive leadership's got to come from your quarterback. There's only one player that touches the ball more than the quarterback every play. And so maybe, are we missing some leadership from Cooper? We're not there, so we don't know. I like to think, try not to be so negative because we do lose to Florida on the regular. But I'm wondering if Cooper's not maybe one of the leaders in that locker room on offense, and Joe's not. I don't know. Does Joe seem like the talkative type to you, the rah-rah type? Does he seem like that to you two guys? Sometimes he does. Sometimes he doesn't. He's just Joe Cool, nothing rattles him. He goes to the press conference after a horrible loss and just every question asked, he answers it, and then it's all good. Yeah, we're good. So your leader's got to be your quarterback.
I can tell you, I would have left that Florida game ticked.
Yeah.
I would have been angry. I would have been mad, and I would have been mad at the Austin Peay game. That's the game that really was a huge red flag to me. It was 6-6 in the second quarter with a minute to go, and they had fumbled the ball inside the 10 on their own side of the field, and we are tied with them.
Let me ask you guys. Sorry, Jay, I thought you were finished.
No, that's fine.
How many times this year? And I hate to bring up his name because it seems like everybody wants to talk about Hendon, but we kind of have to. How many times have you seen Joe Milton come to the sideline and slam his helmet down or slam a head in anger? And the answer is 0. we saw that a little bit from him. We see it from every quarterback. At some point, they get pissed off because of the way the team is not playing, and we haven't seen that from Joe. So I'm off the Joe train. So
I
I'm
want
not
some
calling,
emotion, right? I want somebody to
Yeah.
care. Like you're the quarterback at the University of Tennessee. And I'm not saying Joe doesn't care. I'm just saying he doesn't necessarily show that he
Right.
cares. You know what I mean? Like I'm not don't think that I'm putting Joe on blast saying, "Oh, he doesn't care. He's just out there screwing off." Like I think Joe does care. But man, like you show up to that press conference like you said, BVD, and everything's just happy-go-lucky, just kind of laughing. Meanwhile, I'm getting on YouTube and I'm just a dude sitting in his basement surrounded by toys and video games like an idiot. And I'm yelling and screaming and losing sleep over it. Like, so much that we're live for 2 hours on a post-game show. I go upstairs afterwards. I'm up for another hour scrolling social media, getting more pissed off. Like, did Joe stay up all night pissed off? He said they were going to go to work on the plane. I hope they did, because they got a week. And now we're down to a half a week to get this thing figured out before UTSA on Saturday. Let me hit some super chats here. First of all, Kermit Hester becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate that support. I think Kermit may have hated me at one point in time. I can't remember. He's on Facebook, and he said, I've been listening to the show lately and really respect your opinion, even though we disagree on things. Isn't that the way the world's supposed to be? Like, we can disagree and still love Tennessee and talk Tennessee. So shout out to Kermit for sticking with us here. Straight Up Vol becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate that. Raven Gaming also becomes a member. Guys, it's real quick. Hit the join button down below. $1. If you got $1, you like the live streams, the content, the videos, the community aspect, whatever it is, we would appreciate your support. Shout out to you guys for hitting that join button. T-Bird sign shot for 2. Joe's situational awareness isn't getting it done. So much truth to that. The timeouts, trying to check a play when there's no time left on the play clock. On top of that, he takes a timeout, and there's like 12 seconds left on the play clock. Running out of bounds on the 2-point conversion. Immediate flashback to the Ole Miss game. It's like, again? We're going to do this again? We're going to trot out of bounds? Throw the football. Just make a play. Rocky Top Tom for 5. Appreciate that, brother. Late Dorothy. The O-line can't block, defense can't tackle, discipline issues across the board. OC is a moron, and the team doesn't hit in practice. Panic button. Dude, Tom was one of these that I think Tom was all good with the Austin Peay game. And the more he thought about it, the more he is in full-blown panic mode. But thank you, Tom, for the super chat. Appreciate it, brother. Parker for another 5. Cooper said on DH show he isn't close friends with anyone on the team, more or less just buddies left on the team with him. Interesting. That's a problem. That is a problem if you're center. Like BVD just said, that's a guy you could possibly consider the leader on the offense, and he isn't friends with anyone on the team. That's a problem. Like, I'm not trying to freak everybody out, but there are a bunch of red flags with this football team that makes me question the chemistry and the culture in that locker room. I'm sorry. Jay hit the nail on the head, though. You win. We're not talking about this. So we'll see how they bounce back this week. Papa J for 5. It is sad that we have the UTSA game to see what kind of team we actually have this year. It's true. It's a bounce back week, right? Does this team bounce back? Or do they come out and lay an egg? Like, right? How concerned are you guys? Let me hit this real quick. C. Johns becomes a member. Shout out, C. Johns. Appreciate that support, brother. We appreciate you guys hitting that join button. Here comes another one. You guys going nuts with the memberships. William Ellis also becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate that, guys. Emoji access. Show him what he's won. Put those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis in the chat. We've also got a BVD and a Sports Talk J custom emoji down there as well. But going back to Papa J's comment, Sports Talk Jay, how many J's do we have in this freaking community? Bounce back game, right? How panicked are you going to be if they go lay an egg, and let's say they win 27 to 21, 27 to 20, something close. How panicked are you going to be?
I was already concerned with the Austin Peay game. I mean, I've seen enough football from this unit that I'm concerned. That's why I would open up the QB competition. I'm not saying bench Joe, because that would be probably a mistake at this point, but I would certainly open it up, and I would start sprinkling Nico into those series and get him some meaningful live game rep series. Because look, it's not like we're scoring a bunch of points and it's going to slow us down. And we need to see what this guy, I want to see what he does when it's the play's kind of not going well. Can he win with his legs? Can he make a quick decision? Can he throw the ball well while running? That's another issue that we're dealing with. Once Joe scrambles, do not expect him to throw a touchdown pass or any. It's not his thing. He's not a scramble and throw guy. It is just, There's some situational awareness that I heard somebody say in the text there. There's such a thing as that, and I'm not seeing a ton of it. I see a guy with a gifted arm who can make some really spectacular throws that are very impressive. But there's more to being a quarterback than having a great arm. And it's tough because he is making some good decisions. You know, he's not going to the wrong places. That's what the coaches are talking about. It's not like he's throwing it into triple coverage or double coverage all the time and doing all that kind of crap. He's not doing that. He's throwing the ball where it needs to be thrown based on the play. Now, sometimes he's late. That's another issue. But, you know, he's going to have decent numbers. He's going to throw for his 200, 250, and 60%. But a lot of that 60, 70% completion rate is I'm going to throw behind the line of scrimmage over here 10 times, and I'm going to complete 9 of them. So there's just a lot going on here that requires an opening of the QB competition to me. That's all.
Let me hit a couple of super chats here real quick. Rob Baxter for 5. Appreciate that. Why are we not running our high-tempo offense? That's who we are. You know, Jay mentioned that earlier. Like we're not going fast. We're not catching teams off guard. It seems to be that Joe comes to the line, and if it's the look they want, they run the play, and if it's not, they stop, they turn, they wait. And I know we saw that some with Hendon. And again, let's just keep comparing Joe to Hendon because that's what we do, and I'm sure he loves that because I know he listens to the Talkin VAWLS Network. Everybody tells me to quit hurting his feelings. What's up, Joe? I hope you had a good morning at practice. I think it's trust, man. Trust. You know, I know we're kind of going back to the same conversation we just had, but BVD, I think it's trust. I don't think they trust Joe to go out there and say, all right, this is what we're going to do.
And I know that's the easy thing for you and me and Jay and everybody to say, but I think if they didn't trust him, we'd already been seeing Nico more. I know he's a freshman. I get that. And you know what? We don't want to get freshmen hurt and all that good stuff. But there's been plenty of freshmen across this country that have come out and had to play their first year. See Peyton Manning, for one example. It worked out pretty good for him. I 100% agree with Jay that I think if they haven't already opened up the competition, they need to. And I don't mean in practice. I mean on the field. And I think this week would be a prime opportunity. What's it going to hurt? I mean, what's it going to hurt to throw Nico out there for one series and just see what happens? I know at the quarterback position, oh, well, now you got to get them into rhythm. You know, shuffling 2 quarterbacks in and out never works. It didn't work for Spurrier. It didn't work for Coach X. But I think, and we're fans, we're not coaches, and remember what fan stands for, fanatic. I think that's what they need to do. I think we would find out pretty quick from Nico what he's capable of.
We're going to keep this conversation rolling because I'm going to take a look at Coach Halsley's comments on the play of Joe Milton and also whether or not we're going to see Nico. Raven Gaming for 2. Appreciate the super chat. They should have used Warren on slant plays. Man, I didn't realize it. Somebody was talking about this last night on the NCAA stream. It came up that Warren didn't play at all yesterday, and I was like, what? I went and looked. He only saw 29 plays. 29 plays from Jacob Warren. You had 37 offensive plays from McAllen Castle. So that's an interesting choice. I don't think they utilize the tight ends a lot in this offense. They block a lot. You see them sometime down there in the red zone, but I agree with that. I think over the middle of the field, Jacob Warren has shown the ability to catch that, and Joe has shown the ability to make that throw to Jacob Warren. T-Bird sign shop for $10. That is not cheap. Appreciate that super chat, brother. Understand we can and should bounce back, but we have 3 games under our belt. We know what we have. That's why our pets' heads are falling off. Would be cool to see Nico worked in with the rotation. Are our pets' heads falling off? I mean, it certainly seems that way.
Our pets' heads are falling off!
Listen,
I knew Jay. I could see Jay in the back room on the intro. As soon as I played that, I was like, that's his sense of humor. Like, I knew he would laugh when he saw that.
I love Dumb and Dumber. That's my favorite movie of all time.
Sorry, BVD, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Everybody, the first thing we usually hear after a loss is nobody cares more than the players, right?
Right.
Nobody cares more about a loss than the players. Will and always will disagree with that. I don't think anybody cares more than fans like us that are over the top fanatical. You know, yeah, the players care, they just got their heads handed to them. Of course they're upset. Of course they care. But I think for a lot of these guys, not all of them, when they leave the University of Tennessee, they're done. They don't watch the games. They don't care. But guys like us, it's every game, every year, period. Our heads are falling off right now, not our pets, our heads. So I just wanted to throw that out there and see what you guys think about who cares more, the fans or the players.
I think that clip from Brew McCoy shows that he cares. I think it's a split, right? You're going to see a split. Some guys, man, I'll never forget, and I don't remember which game it was, and it was after a loss, and me and Snake were going back to the car, and it was when Derrick Rogers was still at Tennessee, and we saw him walking, just laughing, like goofing off, cutting up, like back, and I'm like, dude. Like, me and Snake are walking to the car pissed off and angry and mad and, like, kicking things, and we're gonna be miserable for the next 3 to 4 days, and we see two of the players walking away just laughing. But, I think that's the exception. I think most of these kids on this football team actually do care. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, oh yeah, they care a lot. You're gonna have a few that you can't make them care, but the vast majority of the players care a lot. They've spent it's been their whole life. It's been their entire life has been football. If they're playing Division I college football at the University of Tennessee, their entire life existence, how they see themselves is based on how they play and how others see them as a football player. There's going to be a few that are able to separate themselves from that and can, not let it bother them, but not many. Most of them, I promise you, are tore up when they lose.
Let me get a couple more super chats here. You guys being very generous today. We appreciate that support. Parker for $2 says they used McCallan Castles more, and he was very efficient. Tell you what, man, I think he's a good football player. I know when he transferred in, I didn't know a lot about him, and the chat likes to give me a hard time saying that I hate him and don't like him. I just didn't know a whole lot about him, right? And you go try to find a guy coming from UC Davis, it's like I can't find a whole lot of information on this dude. But then the more it went, a lot of people really high on him, and I think I think he's a very good football player. Inferno for $5. Thank you for the super chat. Coach decided not to redshirt Nico this year, so why not use him? Love what you guys do. This weekend was rough, but all we can do is look ahead. Go Big Orange. Yeah, it was never the plan to redshirt Nico. That was never going to happen. I think Coach Heupel's just being cautious, and we're going to jump into that here in just a second. I'm going to play those clips coming up here in just a moment. Rob Baxter for $20. Rob, that is not cheap. Appreciate that, brother. Says, love all of y'all shows. GBO, y'all split the 20. You guys want to split the 20, make sure you show love next week on Sports Talk Jay's channel. We're going to be back on Jay's channel Wednesday at noon, and then the following week we are going to be on BVD's channel. We rotate. We call this thing the Tennessee Trinity. So make sure you guys check out what they've got going on. BVD, you've got a video coming up later today. What's going to be going on over at your channel?
Yeah, I've actually got two coming out today. One on my thoughts about Florida and UTSA, like what is a UTSA? Because a lot of people see that acronym and they're like, what's that? I solved that issue today. And, of course, my weekly interview with Josh Heupel got delayed. It was supposed to come out yesterday, but, we had a train wreck here in Greenville. Everything got derailed. And, I just hit the wrong date for it. So it's going to upload today at 4:00. So, and live show tonight as not previously scheduled because of the Greenville game last night. So just stay tuned and keep looking at that notification.
What about you, Jay? What do you got coming up this week?
Well, I'm going to play golf.
Shutting her down. I'm done. I'm done with YouTube.
I'll do some shows, but I don't plan a ton of stuff out. I just kind of
wing it.
It's just when it hits me. I'll read an article or I'll go through social media and find something that I think is worthy of reporting on and putting the show out and having some good content that way. I'm not good at planning out everything. Y'all are better at that than I am.
I don't know, man. I really kind of wing it a lot, too. A lot of times I wake up, come downstairs, and just scroll through Vol News and see what I can come up with to talk about. Once the season gets rolling, though, kind of have a pretty dialed-in schedule that I keep up with. C. Johns for 2. Nothing to say, just a tip in the tip jar. Appreciate that, brother. Thank you for the super chat. You guys watching here, if you jumped on because Sports Talk J or BVD is here, welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. I'm not some expert or insider. I'm not some media dude. I'm just a fan trying to build a community where you guys have a voice. That's what this channel is all about. So if you like that style of content, make sure you're dialed in. We'll be live tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Vols JP is going to be back in the house, and he is full of piss and vinegar, and I'm going to hand him a live microphone and say, go tell him how you really feel. Friday morning at 9:30 a.m., myself and Coach Jay are going to be going live. Pour yourself a cup of coffee. Come hang out. We'll talk about this Tennessee UTSA game in a little bit more detail. And then Saturday, we go live an hour before kickoff. That's where all these guys joining the channel, all the members of the channel, you get the link, and you get to come on and say whatever you want about Tennessee football. And then we're going to do a live post game immediately following as well. And also, we got merch. You can see I'm revving it right now. We're not a family. We are a cult. This channel is a cult. We ask you to drink the Kool-Aid. We got brand new merch that says Cult Member. So go check that out. All the old favorites are there as well. Bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. Appreciate you guys repping the merch. If you wear it, man, if you wear some Talkin VAWLS merch out in public, tag me up on Twitter at Boogie Bentley. I would love to see you guys rocking a Beat Bama shirt, Beat Georgia, Kentucky's Daddy, whatever it is that you pick up and support the channel with. But that's it for the show. Shills and plugs and chills. Let's get back to talking about Nico and Joe, because I want to take a listen to Joey Halsley, offensive coordinator's comments about Joe. He was asked how Joe is playing at this point in the season. So we're going to take a listen to his comments. Got another super chat from Parker. Appreciate the $2. Says, be happy, Sports Talk Jay. Enjoy golfing and forget about your battered Vol syndrome. See, that's the difference, though, Jay. You can forget about it and go play golf and be happy. I go play golf and shoot a 93, and I'm pissed off even more.
Yeah, but if Jay shoots a 73 or 74, he's pissed off again. So,
yeah, a bad round for Jay is my best round ever. A 75.
Same here. Yeah,
75. He's pissed, and I'm like, oh man, I just shot a 75. All right, let's take a listen to Coach Halsley's comments. This is about Joe Milton, how Joe's been playing so far.
Joey, when you went back and watched the game the other night, how did you assess the good and bad from Joe, and what are some things he needs to do better from this week to next?
Yeah, Joe was really good at his decision making, his calmness on the sidelines. He kept the calm within the storm out there. Talking to him on the headset, man, he was after every single drive. He was like, all right, cool, like move on. What do we got coming next? So the guy's really even keeled. His decision making is really good. Was accurate with the football. Like the guy played a good game. Was happy with that. Obviously, we can always be better. We can be pushing for our communication, for how we all get on the same page in an environment like that when it's harder to hear and it's not the friendly confines. So that's where we can keep pushing to grow. But his overall game management was very good.
So they're talking about game management, BVD. They're talking about keeping an even kill, which is hilarious because just two minutes ago we all said we want Joe to be a little pissed off occasionally. When you're judging Joe Milton, do you think he's played bad so far? Or do you think all the Joe Nico hype is because we've got a 5-star quarterback, number 1 ranked player in the class of 2023 sitting on the bench? The backup quarterback's always the sexiest guy on the team, right?
Yeah, you just took the words literally out of my mouth. I see my roommate, who's an Ohio State fan, bitching about his quarterback all the time, and they're 3-0 and scoring 60 points a game, and he wants the backup quarterback. So it's every team, every level, just about. The backup quarterback's always the most popular guy. Is that fair? I don't think it's fair at this point. It is what it is. Joe hasn't been blowing the light bulb up and making everybody go, wow, look at what Joe's doing this year. Instead, everybody's complaining, does he? And we got to have the coach come on here and say that he's making the right. He's having great decision making. And it's funny that he mentioned coming over to the sideline and being cool. Everything's all right. It's cool. And then us three are mad because he's not mad. So I don't know what do they want from us? What do they want from him? And John said it correctly earlier. He's going to put the numbers up. Milton's going to have the numbers, by the end of the season if he keeps his job. So I don't know. I don't know, Boogie. There's too many questions coming right now. Too many questions.
Well, let me
just go play football and golf.
I've got some numbers here for you. He's thrown for 716 yards. He's thrown 6 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Sounds really good. He's well over 60% completion rate, around 65, 66. His QBR is 49.5. That's 82nd.
Womp, 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 womp. There you go. There's a bad stat.
So there you go. And that has to do with a lot with yards per throw, and it also has to do with just the quality of the performances. So he's kind of middle of the road, and even though the numbers look good, a lot of that is manufactured by throwing behind the line. And then he'll throw some magical passes that you go, God. I mean, he's got that it factor. He can make some passes that others cannot make. And when he does make them, it's such a splash play. You're like, okay, this is the guy. I can see why everybody's so excited about him. But then by the end of the day, you've got 16 points.
First drive. Perfect.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that he can look like an all-pro.
Yeah.
It's almost the most dangerous part about him is that the coaches can fall in love with a guy like that. But at the end of the day, your QBR is 49, and you've scored 16 points, and you've scored 30 against Austin Peay. That's your catch-22.
Yeah. How many people are after our first drive Saturday were like, yes, that's what I've been wanting to see. We're good. We're going to go down to the swamp. We're going to destroy Florida, and everything's going to be right in the big orange world. How many people were you guys feeling that after drive 1? Were you in the comments? I'm curious.
It was perfect. It was the picture perfect start. Yes, Florida, what was it, like a 14-play drive? And I said, Ben, don't break. That makes some people mad, but that's what it was. You dug in, you got the stop, you forced a field goal, then you go block the field goal. It's like, okay, let's go. You go right down the field, and the talk before, what do you do with Joe? How do you get Joe dialed in? Do you take a shot early? Do you give him some confidence-building throws? And that's what they did. They gave him some confidence-building throws, hit a nice swing pass, then you hit the deep shot to Squirrel White. You come right back with the fade to Keaton. It's 7-0, and you're getting the ball back to start the third quarter. So you're like, all right, if we can go win the middle 8, we're in a really good spot right now. But, Jay, it just didn't matter. Tennessee, look, they shot themselves in the foot. Everybody talking about poor offensive line play, and they did. They got whipped up front. But not only did they get whipped up front, they put themselves behind the chains on the next 3 drives after that opening touchdown. So we can blame Joe. We can blame play calling. We can blame whatever. You had 2 false starts, and you had a snap infraction on Ollie Lane. So you're facing first and 15 on your next 3 jobs. Jay, you're killing yourself. You can't do that in the swamp.
Yeah, you're going to do it every time in the swamp. You're going to have 3 or 4 false starts in the swamp every single solitary time. You've got to be able to overcome it and handle a 1st and 15. And, we struggle with anything like that. That's not good. You've got to have your running game going, and which it was not. And the offensive line did struggle. But that's why this offense, in my mind, requires a dual threat quarterback. You've got to have that risk of him taking off and running for 30 yards. And Joe is a pocket passer. I've kind of come to that conclusion that he is a pocket passer. He's kind of old school. He will run if he's forced to, but that's not what he wants to do. It's not his thing. And he's not comfortable throwing while scrambling. He's just not his thing. He wants to stand there in the pocket, wait for things to develop, and then use his arm. And I don't think this offense is conducive to that. We've seen this offense run perfectly, but it requires somebody that has a solid arm, who is a dual threat guy and can make very quick decisions. And the other thing is, I don't think Joe is choking. I don't think that at all. If you're going to choke, you're going to choke on that first drive, because that's when your nerves are really up and you're really jazzed. And he looked perfect. So I don't think it's his nerves. I'm not confident that he's the right fit for this offense. I'm not there yet with that.
Let me hit a few more super chats here. Bro Regard for 2. Appreciate that. Think we have a players only meeting this week. Now, apparently that meant absolutely nothing, right? The way you responded after that. And that was kind of blown out of proportion because the more the information came out about that, it was a team meeting. And then after the meeting was over, the coaches left and the players just kind of stayed behind and said, hey, this is what we need to do. So it's not like Joe picked up the phone and called everybody or sent a text and said, hey, everybody meet at the building at this time. We're going to have a come to Jesus meeting. It was just after a regular meeting. Rob Baxter for 2. Appreciate that, brother. Yeah, he was too busy laughing and dancing, shaking my head. I think we all just want to see Joe be a little angry. I think that's what seems to be a common theme in the chat. Raven Gaming for 5. Appreciate that, brother. We definitely need to recruit O-line next year. Got 4 really good offensive linemen committed in the class of 2024. But the question that I saw some of you guys asking in the chat earlier, and we'll continue to watch it, can you hold this class together if you continue to struggle? Douglas Graham for 5. Appreciate that, brother. Been walking the dog and his head is still on, but Saturday night I was pulling my hair out because of the poor performance. GBO. I'm glad that your pet's heads aren't falling off, Douglas. Glad your pet's head is still there. Appreciate the super chat, brother. Sometimes you guys get me. That one got me. C. Johns for 10. Appreciate that. Joe is playing smart, but right now you need a spark. Nico is that spark. He has better pocket poise and ability to make plays on the run. It's not knocking Joe, but behind this line, Nico can thrive right now. I think that's the thing, man. Everybody is ready for that spark. Can Nico be that spark? Again, you're talking about the number 1 player in the class of 23. You're talking about what a lot of people call a generational type talent. It's not necessarily that Joe is playing so bad. It's that we've got Nico on the bench. I told Kaner last week, I said, why don't you just get up there and man up and ask Coach Heupel when we're going to see Nico? And he's like, I'm not going to do that. They'll drag me out and give me a stern talking to. We were having a joke and laughing about it, and then Joey Halsey, 100% put on the spot. Let's take a listen.
When you look at any deficiencies in offense, pre-snap penalties and any other things we're asking you about, seeing what you've seen in practice, is there any area, any deficiency that would have been better if Nico was at quarterback as opposed to Joe?
No.
Why do you say that?
Because it's operation. Joe's operating at a really high level. No.
No, the end. It's over. No, Nico. No. We're not seeing Nico. We're not seeing Nico this week. I'm telling you, it ain't happening. The only way we're getting Nico this week is if it's a blowout. The only way we're seeing Nico against South Carolina is maybe if Joe goes out and plays horrible and gets beat against UTSA and the season's over. Let me tell you something. Somebody in the chat freaking out, yelling and crying, I'm leaving. I'm done watching. Y'all are too negative. I used to like you all, but you're so negative. I'm unsubbing all 3 of you. Good riddance, man. I call a spade a spade. If Coach Jay's words, if Tennessee gives me a turd on Saturday night, I'm not going to come in here and try to sell it to you as something special. They played like trash. I'm going to tell you they played like trash. They played good. I'm going to tell you they played good. I'm going to stay true to who I am and what I believe, and I'm going to give that to you here. You can agree, disagree, but if you can't handle it, then this ain't an airport. You don't need to announce your departure. Just hit the bricks. And I'm not speaking for Sports Talk J and BVD. I'm speaking for myself and my channel. If you don't like what I have to say, we can disagree, we can agree, or you can hit the bricks. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I'm never going to come on this channel and sell you some fake opinion. That's not my style. I'm not like some of these dudes in the media that are going to sell you this BS because they're, why am I getting sidetracked, BBD? We had this conversation. We don't owe anything to the University of Tennessee. Nothing. We owe them nothing because they don't pay my bills. You guys pay my bills, right? We're here to talk about Tennessee football, and I'm always going to voice my opinion. I got completely sidetracked, and I'm sorry, but sometimes people piss me off.
That's okay. I've made a career out of pissing people off with my opinion. Maybe it's because of the way I express it. I don't know. I feel like, you say we're building a community here, and on your channel you are, and I'm trying to do the same thing. But when I get mad, I show it in my live streams. I'm out of control mad. And sometimes I let some F-bombs fly and I show my true colors. But hey, when you're mad, you're mad. And I don't think anybody that's been watching me for years or that's come to watch me now would expect or want anything less. And nobody wants to see BVD get on YouTube and say, well, that was a good performance, although we lost Saturday. There could be some things that they could correct, but no, nobody wants that crap. That's why they're here watching us now. They want honest opinions from three honest guys that are going to let you have it. And again, I'm not speaking for Jay or Boogie, but that's just kind of the way I feel. I think that's why the three of us agreed to do this every week.
Jay, you don't have to comment on that if you don't want to.
I was just going to say I've been hitting the alarm bell since the Austin Peay game, and I've taken a lot of grief over that. But I mean, I can see it. I can see what's going on with this team. I didn't expect the defense to be to ball out. I expected them to go from 90th to like 60th, something along those lines. I expected the defensive backfield to go from 190 millionth to probably 90th.
But they did ball out the first two games, Jay.
Well, look who they were playing.
It doesn't matter. You know how some of our fans are. They could have been playing Greenville High School. And
well, here's what I can tell you is this: if you want to know where the real problem is, and it's obviously offense, because the last two games the defense has averaged giving up 21 points. That's slightly better than last year. The offense went from 46 points to 23 points. That's a 50% drop. If you want to know where the problem is, that's the problem. We don't have that offense to cover up the problems of the defense. I'm not saying the defense is great or anything like that. It's very similar to last year, maybe a slightly better, but the offense is significantly less efficient. And that's the word. That offense is not efficient. It's not being run anywhere close to the level that it was last year, even though the numbers are not bad. But the play calling has changed.
Yes.
It's almost like they're masking the problem.
I'm looking for more of an opinion than a factual answer here, but I asked both of you guys this. For the rest of the season, what do we got? 9 games left, whatever. 8 games. My math sucks. I'm from Greenville. Out of all the games we have left, which are we going to see the most significant improvement from? Our defense or our offense? Your opinions.
Neither one of us know how to answer that question.
That's why it's a good question.
Nico's going to come in and be that spark we need. Look, we got off topic of the Nico thing, but I think that's true. That's why it's and again, efficient. It's not that Joe's out there throwing interceptions. That's the thing, is it's easy for the coaching staff to kind of defend him because he's not throwing, he threw the first interception against Florida, but he got drilled because the offensive line, and the person in the chat that said we're only talking about Joe, this has been a very Joe heavy show because we talked a lot about leadership, but it's about what Nico could be. And Jay talked about, needing a dual threat quarterback. Maybe Nico gives you that little spark because he can escape the pocket. Backyard football, right? If things break down and don't go perfectly, Joe doesn't give you that out. Nico can. We saw it in the spring game, and I know the spring game doesn't mean a whole lot, but the way he was able to escape the pocket and hit Ethan Davis down the sideline, that's the type of stuff we need for this offense to get going. And Jay, you can answer the question, but something else you talked about, how much the offensive production's dropped off. That's playing against Virginia, who is horrible, and Austin Peay in 2 of those 3 games. So if you're not concerned, which anybody that's mad that we're being negative has already left. They already announced they were leaving. But if you're not concerned with the numbers that Jay just dropped on you when 2 of the teams we played were Virginia and Austin Peay, I don't know what to tell you other than you're full of sunshine and rainbows, and you probably will be very disappointed here in a week or 2. I don't know. Hopefully they bounce back. Sorry, got sidetracked. Jay?
Well, the other concern is this. If the offense is doing 3 and outs, all that's going to do is put more pressure on the defense. Because you got to remember also that even though the defense gave up 29 points against Florida, last year we scored 38 points. And that 38 points, it takes longer to score 38 points than it does 16. We didn't have all those 3 and outs. So you're going to give the defense less time to rest, and you're also going to demotivate them emotionally. And that's the biggest, that is so huge in football. Momentum matters a ton in sports. It's so important. And the momentum, if you lose it, see, we gave all that momentum back to Florida. We had the momentum. We gave it right back to them, and then they just ran with it. And then the crowd gets involved, and they go psychopath on you. And that just, when that crowd's doing that, it lifts athletes. It makes them play better than they're capable of playing, and it demotivates the other side. They start dragging, man, this is a waste of time. We can't score. I'm out here killing myself. They're not doing their part. That you start getting into that. And then you get into the negativity that we're starting to see coming out of that locker room. And it's like, it's his fault. No, it's his fault. No, it's your fault. Those are the things that happen when you lose and when you're not successful. And it started happening with Austin Peay falling into Florida game. This is an important game, and we're going to be doing this a lot, folks. I'll just go ahead and we're going to be having these conversations throughout the year because we've already seen 3 games. We've seen the last 2 especially. This offense isn't going to magically go back to close. I was just hoping that it would be anywhere close to last year, and I expected that. I thought we would score 36 points a game, 37, something like that, and go down about 20%. We're down 50%. We're down from 46 points a game to 20. This will not work at 23 points a game. I'll just go ahead and tell you, this will not work at 23 points a game. It won't. It's got to improve.
Let me hit some super chats. I'm going to ask you guys one last question on the way out the door here. C. Johns for 2 says, rewatch Nico's pocket poise in that first down run versus UVA. Yeah, I like that. That's something we talked about. We didn't get to see enough Nico in that game, though. I want to see some Nico on Saturday, but Tennessee's going to have to handle business. Sean drops a $5 super chat. Nothing to say, just a tip in the tip jar. Appreciate that, Sean. Evan Counts for 5 says, they don't make them like they used to, Boogie. Somebody's always going to be upset with you. Yeah, I'm about used to it. I try to ignore them sometimes, and sometimes, man, I just feel like yelling at people. So I yell at them, and I lash out, and that's what I do. Spoiler alert for my appearance on Locked On Vols tomorrow morning over on Kaner's channel. He asked me for plugs and promotions at the end, and I just went full-on 80s heel. I'm a heel over there. They hate me because he is a media guy, and I'm not, and they don't respect me, so I'm just going full-on heel. I preached about the cult, told people to come join the cult. Yeah, make them love you. Make them hate you, but make sure they're always talking about you. That's for sure. Tristan for 2, thank you for the super chat. Go Gators, try again in 2 years. Hey, I will always take money out of the state of Florida and pump it into the Tennessee community. So thank you for the $2, Gator fan. All right, we're caught up on super chats. One last question out the door here. BVD, it's a bounce back week. What do you need to see from Tennessee on Saturday? Short and sweet, 60 seconds or less. What do you need to see from this football team?
Oh, I got you on the 60 seconds or less. We need to see offensive improvement, period. We need to see Joe, I don't know about play better, but we need to see more points. We need to see, I think, Dylan Sampson more. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's something the 3 of us have no idea about. I'd like to see more McAllen Castles. I agree with your comment earlier, whoever's comment it was about I think it was Jay, we're not throwing over the middle to the tight end at all. The only touchdown we've seen from the tight end was a short little dump pass that Castles took to the house. So I want to see these guys out there. It's simple, more offensive production, and it just be the same on defense. I mean, not with the not tackling, obviously, but, continue the trajectory of downward in points scored. And make some tackles, damn it. Excuse my language, Boogie. I didn't mean to say tackles.
I like that. I like that comment from Super Saiyan there. Tim Banks. When Tim Banks unleashes the defense, good things happen. When he handcuffs him, plays safe, we get demolished. Why not pin your ears back, get after the quarterback, bring some pressure? Like, it was so basic, a lot of zone. Parker Townsend for 5 says, I think that means sports talk. Jay, do you think? SPJ, do you think with Coop back, Mincy back, and a fire lit under their ASS, is that the key to getting our offense more efficient?
I want to see. I'm hoping Cooper can play. I think that would be helpful in 2 ways, not only speeding up the offense, which it desperately needs to speed up. It is way, way too slow. We are missing out on so many opportunities to take advantage of the defense that we've done for the last 2 years. That's driving me nuts. We've got to speed it up, and I want to see Joe run the ball a little bit more and some actual called plays for him to run, because they are not concerned about him running at all, not one tiny bit. And that relaxes the defense, and now they can focus on your playmakers. They used to have to worry about Hendon. They were scared to death of Hendon Hooker. He absolutely petrified them. If I'm on defense, I'm not worried about Joe taking off. I'm just not.
Ain't nobody scared about Joe right now.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing he can throw it over you. He can do that. He can make a nice throw over you, and he can throw to the sidelines. But he's not going to take off on you and burn you for 20 or 30 yards, and he's not looking to do so.
All right, boys, that's going to wrap it up. We're going to do these things about an hour every week. Don't forget, next week, We're still going back to noon next
No,
week.
yeah.
Back to noon next week on Sports Talk Jay's channel. The following week will be on BVD's channel. Make sure you tune into what those guys have coming up. If you're not subscribed, go subscribe to their channels. Check out what they're doing. We'll be right back here on the Talkin VAWLS Network here in just a few hours. 7 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. Talkin VAWLS live. Vols JP's back. He's the most negative man on the planet. We're going to give that man a live microphone. If you thought this was negative, if you got your panties in a wad over this one, then you might want to sit tonight out because it's going to be Vols JP going full steam ahead. Got a $5 super chat from CM Jam 96. We gave up 24 against UT Martin last year, even with the offense clicking. If they can't get going, it will get ugly fast. 100% I agree with that. Timothy McGee for $20. $20 is not cheap. Timothy, I appreciate that, brother. Why is it doom and gloom after one game? I remember with Fulmer, after loss to Florida, we would go win 8, 9, 10 games. Do you know we have done this Do you know we have done this change the quarterback since Clausen? It seems to be a theme with college football fans. Yeah, Timothy, I said that at the top of the show, right? The sexiest guy on the team is always the backup quarterback. What happens if Nico comes in and the offense still struggles, right? Then we're going to turn on him. Then we want Gaston Moore. What if he struggles? Then we turn on him. We want Navy Schuler. What happens if he struggles? Then we want to walk on. We always want somebody else because that's what fans do. BVD said it. Fan is short for fanatic. But it's not just one loss. I will argue with you on that, Timothy. We talked about that the entire show. It's the struggling against Austin Peay. It's the amount of points they're scoring against inferior opponents. Then you go into the swamp and lay an egg. That's why Saturday is so important. That's why they have to bounce back because they have not been very good through 3 weeks. It's not just one game. It is the total body of work. But again, we'll be live right back here tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll continue talking about Tennessee football. For BVD, for Sports Talk J, my name is Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.
That we call home and it's night and I'm alone and